Well, actually, I've got a fair amount of overlap
Oh, good.
with what you have, and maybe slightly different perspective in some aspects, but actually a fair amount of overlap, including moving out west from Pennsylvania. I'm not a Quaker, never was, but maybe saw some of the same things when I headed west as well. So actually, one of the first questions I was looking at for myself was, what's the appropriate time and spatial scale for grizzly bear recovery? What's the right context for grizzly bear recovery? And I'll probably start off with the bold statement that there's no master plan, that the earth revolves, the earth can get by with grizzlies, without grizzlies it changes. It's a matter of human value, and that's what the overlap I think that I see is really becomes a question of what we want as people. And that's perhaps the second part is for the people, and that was the second question I have, so quite a bit of the same. An ecosystem isn't inherently better or worse off with grizzlies, it's just different. It's a human perspective. Grizzly bears do have a function in an ecosystem. They do have a function in Yellowstone. They do have a function in central Idaho if they're there. They don't have a purpose, and there's a slight difference between those two statements. Purpose indicates that there is a master plan, that if you remove this part, that something falls apart. I'll contend that instead it changes, and that perhaps is a value-laden statement that we want it in a certain way, and that's okay. That's the way we operate as human beings, and there's simply nothing wrong with that. So, talking about the spatial scale that we're dealing with here, grizzlies have been around for a long time. I don't know how far back you want to go. They diverged from polar bears somewhere in excess of 300,000 years ago. So, when we're talking about putting grizzlies back on the landscape, we have to make a decision. You know, do we try to mimic what was here 300 or 500,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago before European man came, as suggested, or maybe 50 years ago before anybody came. Those are human value statements. Those are human decisions, and again, that's okay. Right context basically is what society decides it should be. I'll kind of take that perspective. So then again, who's society? Who gets to say what happens with grizzly bears in Yellowstone or in Idaho, either way you want to look at it? The North American model of wildlife conservation says that wildlife belongs to the people. It doesn't specify in that statement who the people are. So I take that as the people of the world. So you've got a species that the management really is appropriate for anybody to comment on or to feel about or emotionally tied to. But if you start moving from the world down to a smaller and smaller scale, the implications are different. The person that's interested in grizzly bears in Australia or coastal Albania, they probably have a different perspective, and there's probably a different reason for management to address them differently than, say, somebody who has grizzly bears in their backyard. Drawing those lines is really difficult, and I don't know how you do that, and I won't pretend to. But it's something that has to be done when we talk about grizzly bear management, is drawing lines both on a temporal scale, what we want to try to mimic. Do we want to try to mimic 200 years ago? Do we want to try to mimic 1902, whatever. And then also on a spatial scale, you know, do we want to try to have a few grizzly bears in Texas? Do we delist at a DPS level where we've got a distinct population segment? Do we tie two together, 3, 5, 6? Do we tie the areas between recovery zones? Because they're simply human constructs. And do we, how far down do we go? So we've got a lot of very subjective type of situations when it comes to grizzly bear recovery. So how do we express what we want as a society? How do we express where to draw those lines? And the answer, and this is nothing new, but basically, really, the way we express our desires as society is through government. And we elect people, we've got representative democracy. We try to figure out, who do I want in office? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. And then we try to work through them to try to set policy. State agencies, federal agencies don't set policy, at least they're not supposed to. That's the legislature's prerogative, that's their charge. State agencies, for example, are part of the executive branch, not the legislative branch. Our job really is to take science, marry it with the policy that's handed down from the legislative branch, and produce management, informed management. And informed means a lot of different things to different people. You know, basically, for most people, it means telling people enough so that they believe the same way I do. So I think we're all guilty of that to one degree or another, and that's kind of that groupthink type problem that we all run into. It doesn't matter what group or who you're talking about. We tend to identify with people that think similar to we do. We kind of are surprised sometimes when our elected officials don't match that, but it's certainly the case. So the government certainly is a big part of this. Where do you draw the line? Well, there's no world government per se. There's no continental government. There's the two scales that we operate on. There are national governments, and there are treaties between governments. Whether it's a tribal government, Canada, Mexico, the Migratory Bird Treaty Act provides one framework, for example. ESA provides another framework. And then things that are not described formally at the federal level, of course, and at the state level. So how do we marry science? What is science? Well, there's a lot of different people who are looking at science kind of in the groupthink context, and it's on both sides of the equation, or all sides of the equation, I guess. And so science becomes a little bit more subjective than perhaps we like to think. You know, at one time I was looking at chemistry and mathematics as a field of study, and I ended up going first in forestry for an undergrad and into wildlife management. And in those fields, basically things are pretty straightforward. They're not entirely. I mean, we still have Brownian movement, you got all these other things going on where a particle can be in two places at one time, stuff I don't understand. But it's pretty black and white. Generally 2 and 2 equals 4, no matter how you cut it. Wildlife management and science actually in itself, really, there's a lot more interpretation, and a lot of times hypotheses get forwarded as factual, they get forwarded as the situation, conclusions set up as truth, when in fact it isn't. So we do have to be careful, and I'll agree with that fully. I wish there was somebody from the USGS or from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service here tonight to kind of talk to some specifics. I won't talk any specifics. I'm grizzly bear recovery. I'm not a grizzly bear expert. I don't pretend to be. I'm not an ESA expert. What I have done is I've spent the last 33 years, I guess, in wildlife management, trying to match policy that's handed down theoretically from the people, married with the science, and produce management that's satisfying. And usually at that level, we have the additional step of public input at that level as well as the policy level. It's a difficult situation because a lot of times you get conflicting pieces of input, be it organized input that perhaps doesn't reflect what truly a true cross-section of the public wants. Those are difficult things to address. So where are we with grizzly bear management? Well, we've got benchmarks set up, right or wrong, subjectively, I'll say, but some science addressed to them, but through the federal government, who's charged with grizzly bear management. And this 6-year benchmark was made not just recently, not in 2007, but way back about 14 years ago in 2003. So we've been struggling with trying to get grizzly bears off the endangered species list is one, but trying to recognize where they are they endangered or not. They met the criteria 14 years ago, and we've been struggling back for the federal since. And that's where the judicial system comes in, legitimately so, of trying to interpret that law. Is this indeed what the law says? Conservation strategy, is that adequate? Well, yeah, that's been determined. Food sources, has that been adequately addressed? Fish and Wildlife Service thinks it has been, and that's why it's, again, come out with another delisting. These different arguments have come and gone. And that remains to be seen. That'll be litigated, and there'll be appeals, and we'll go back and forth, and eventually we'll get through the process, I think. So, really, where does it leave bears? When we look at bears right now, they're being delisted at a DPS level, a distinct population segment. It's basically saying that the bears in the Yellowstone ecosystem are markedly different from those in surrounding areas, adjacent areas. And that management of bears in Yellowstone, according to Fish and Wildlife Service, is self-sufficient, not necessarily connected to these other areas. I do want to recognize, though, that even though that's not necessary for delisting, it is a desirable property. Anytime you have connectivity between subpopulations, I can rarely see a bad situation when that's the case. The question becomes, at what point do you draw the line? At what point do you let those local people feel grizzlies in their backyard and not suffer, but at least have direct impacts? And at what point do you address those impacts versus letting things go? Do you let it go to multiple situations, multiple recovery zones? Do you go beyond that to the areas between zones, California, Texas, western part of Minnesota at one time? Again, those are subjective feelings. So really where we are, I think, in my perspective, is that it is a democratic process that's necessary. How that's expressed typically is through your elected officials. And although direct input to the Fish and Wildlife Service in the process can be important, perhaps the more important process that we have is the direct input to the legislators themselves. Because those are the ones that set the policy. The agencies like the Fish and Wildlife Service are simply carrying out that policy. They're simply administering that policy. So we've got a lot of things happening with grizzly bears in the Yellowstone ecosystem, and I'm not going to pretend to know all across. Climate change is certainly a big impact, certainly a factor in management of grizzlies in that area. Fires that we've had, whether independent or part of climate change or fire regimes that have come down, the reemergent sort of wolves in the Yellowstone ecosystem and the impacts on foods there obviously has been a factor as well. Over the last hundreds of thousands of years, though, grizzly bears have felt these types of impacts, changes in climate, not man-caused in most cases, changes in food sources, and those responded to changes in distribution, changes in population size, and changes in food habits. And so these things are something that a generalist species like grizzly bears, are used to. The question is, can we retain grizzly bears given some of these? And Fish and Wildlife Service are the ones that have looked into that pretty deeply with, scientists that are not just working for the Fish and Wildlife Service, but working for states, working for universities. Interagency grizzly bear study team is a good example of that. It's not just the federal government themselves, it's groups. The Wildlife Society, perhaps in the opposite of SCA and these others, have come out with a position statement. Wildlife Society is a group of about 10,000 professional biologists across the country, actually around the world, but most of them are from North America. The position statement from the Wildlife Society is, yes, grizzly bears in Yellowstone do warrant listing. They do back the Fish and Wildlife Service. So what does delisting mean for Yellowstone grizzlies? And I won't try to address what Montana and Wyoming are looking at, other than to say that the three states have signed a cooperative memorandum promising to work together, not just promising, but basically requiring each other to consult with federal and state agencies. I don't know, who all the signatories are on it. And so we're looking at coordinated management across the board for grizzlies in the Yellowstone ecosystem. Idaho is a small part of that. I think we've got about 8% of the DPS of the state population, so or at least the primary conservation area. So we're not a state that's really going to be driving the system when it comes to mortality rates. One of the things that the conservation strategy does include are strict guidelines or strict limits. That below this line, you will back off from harvest. Above this line, it's different. And there's several lines in there. So it's not simply just promises, but really a signed agreement between the states that grizzlies need to be managed. Idaho has, and most states do, really a code that specifies, and I'd like to just read part of it. A lot of you have heard this before, but all wildlife, including all wild animals, wild birds, and fish within the state of Idaho is hereby declared to be the property of the state of Idaho. And the next sentence is perhaps the most important in code. It shall be preserved, protected, perpetuated, and managed. And so what that does is that obligates the states to maintain grizzly bears across the state. Not across the state, but within the state once they're here, once they're moving. So there is an obligation for the states at that level in code to go ahead and manage grizzlies and have grizzlies in perpetuity. So for the vast majority of Idaho, delisting the Yellowstone ecosystem is a very small part of the state. Just that area there in the very eastern part of Yellowstone. Delisting in the Yellowstone area means for the vast majority of state means that we will have continued ESA protection in everything west of Route 15 go with Red Bull Falls. So everything west and north of there would be outside the recovery zone. Any grizzly bears that can make it to the bitter roots are fully protected. Any grizzly bears in the Selkirks, the Cabinet Yaks, fully protected. Cabinet Yak and Selkirk population is very small. I don't see anything in the even distant future as far as recovery of those areas on their own, as far as small as they are. This is one of the things that's kind of interesting is in central Idaho, we have a large tract of land there. The state legislature setting policy, the state no introductions into that central tract of land. Does that mean no grizzly bears? No, it doesn't, but it certainly means much slower road. For the reasons mentioned earlier, low reproductive rates, poor dispersal rates, not no dispersal rates, but very slow. We've already seen grizzly bears from the Selkirks move down into the bitter country. We've seen grizzly bears from the NCD move into the bitter country. There was a Edna. Anybody knows Edna? Edna was a radio colored bear that moved down into Coeur d'Alene's, moved down south in St. Joe, and actually ended up back in the NCD in northern continental Idaho. Another bear over the Big Holes in Montana from the NCD right at the edge of it. So the more logical connectivity with central Idaho appears not with Yellowstone, but probably with colonization from the north first, eventually with Yellowstone. And that's all a good thing, but as far as the prerequisite for delisting, not necessary. So what are some of the impediments? Basically, it's our choices as people. I think the impediment is how we choose our governance. If we as people, as a society, decide that, hey, yeah, we want grizzlies in central Idaho or anyplace else, really the avenue is through legislators directly. That'll, if time's up, I'll cut off here and leave some time for